to give you the best opportunity. Just because I am the exception by far.
Yeah.
If you the fastest way, we've talked about this before, and this is the thing Ben Shapiro talks about: graduate from high school, don't have kids before you get married, get married before you have kids. Whatever that. There's three things.
Don't get married till you're 30.
Don't get married till you're 28. Graduate from high school. Don't have kids before you get married. Almost guarantee you the next rung or two up in the success ladder. Right, move you from middle class to upper middle class, so on. Move you from poor to middle class. That's just the way that it works. That's the statistic. And so I think that giving people a chance, if you have no education, but you have no common sense, no one's ever taught you anything, all you know is the world's out to get you, it's everybody else's fault but yours, which is what the only thing that these people get taught on a regular basis. They're fed it by everywhere, society, social media, at work. I mean, it's just bread told into you from if you're poor and white, it's somebody else's fault. If you're poor and black, it's somebody else's fault. If you don't get that promotion, it's because you're a woman. If you didn't get that job, it's because you're Chinese, right? There's always some reason why you didn't get what you want. And I think that while none of that's true, I don't believe any of that, and the statistics back me up that there's no reason to believe any of that. Education gives you such a leap ahead to have that opportunity. And so when we talk about vouchers and people being able to go to schools the way they want to, I think it's almost a type of government racism, discrimination, not racism, discrimination, meaning that those kids have no chance because they're forced to go to schools that do not benefit them at all. In fact, probably make life much harder on them than if there was no school at all at these inner city schools. So that's what I'm talking about. Something that I could get passionate about is getting kids education. I can't expect that people are going to come from no education like me and end up where I am.
Yeah.
That's not reasonable.
Yeah. It's
not unreasonable to expect that somebody has the kind of opportunity that I've had who is much greater. Somebody would have a much greater opportunity than I have if they graduate from high school. Yeah. And I think that the opportunity for somebody to do better if they go to college is even better. So I hate college. Yeah. Everybody knows I hate college, but I send my kids to college. I would have gone to college if I could afford it. And anyone should go to college, but they need to pay for it as they go. And if I see one more goddamn story about how hard college is, I'm just going to literally punch myself in the face. Did you ever go to college? I don't remember.
I did.
Yeah. So what is college like relative to your average work day?
What do you mean by as far as like?
Well, so if all you did was go to college in the years that you went to college, what would your average college day look like if all you had to do was go to college full time? What was the time constraints? What were the time demands, I should say?
So I went to a community college. I did above the normal credits that you would take even as a full-time student. Okay. So full-time student was like 12 credits. I think I was taking 15.
Right.
While I was also working a full-time job.
Forget about the full-time job.
So
don't care.
By that being said, if you were only doing college and going over the required or the normal credits, full-time load, which is 12.
Yep.
You had plenty of extra time.
How much time is that, though? Define
40 hours a week plus whatever?
For people who don't know, going to school full-time is how much time? Literally, how much classroom time is full-time college?
Generally, they say that per one credit is 1 hour of class time and 3 hours of homework time.
Okay. And did you find that to be true?
Pretty close.
So, and that's per what time frame?
Per week.
So you have 3 hours. You have an hour per week or an hour per day?
Per week.
So if you're doing 12 credits, you have 12 hours of school and 36 hours of homework.
Yep.
and you experienced that it was 3 hours.
That's pretty close.
Okay, good. So that's what, 45 hours, round
Something
numbers.
like that.
So less than 50 hours would be full-time, going to school with the homework.
Now, it all depends on what classes you're taking. My engineering classes that required a 15-page paper every week was much different than my bowling class where I show up and bowl for an hour.
Well, then, but again, we want to, let's take kind of the sciences and the math out of it, the high-end stuff.
Yeah.
Right. Let's keep it to a liberal arts degree, or, something more, a business degree.
Yeah.
I'll add business in there, something, a history degree, something like that.
Okay.
Right. Something more,
I would imagine it's a
more
lot.
reasonable.
Yeah.
So now, and I don't have any idea. I know what I think, I know what I've read, and I know what I've seen with my kids. I'm trying to figure out from you what it is, what you think it is.
So, I mean, I went to school as a computer science engineer.
There's people yelling right now who go to college just like, it's this much.
I went to school as a computer science engineer, so that's what I was used to, which is generally like 1 to 2 hours a day or multiple days a week of lecture, and then so much assigned reading that you have to do around that, and then exercises using that knowledge that you've gained.
Right.
So within programming, it's 2 hours of lecture, 2 chapters of reading, and then you're programming up a bunch of stuff.
Right.
All of that in 1 week would probably take, 10 to 15 hours per class.
Okay. And you have how many classes?
3 or 4.
Okay. So again, regardless, it's somewhere between 40 and 60 hours on the high end.
Yeah.
Right. And then my kids go to school full time. My daughter does, and it's nowhere near 40 hours.
Yeah.
So she's just taking the basics now for the first 2 years.
Yeah.
So let's say that's 30 to 50 hours.
Yep.
That's
nothing in comparison to a work day.
Right. It's nothing compared to a work day. And this is what I talk about. You should not be going to big time schools if you can't afford it. We've talked about that before, but I would go to college if it meant going to community college and then working at night to pay for your community college being inordinately cheaper than your state schools or private schools or anything like that. And then for that last year, transfer down to the state school and get your degree from the state school with the name on it, to the extent that helps you at all, which it really is not going to help you other than some contacts you might make in that graduating class for that last year. But it's really not going to make a difference that much in your chosen field. The chances of you working in your chosen field coming out of college, something like 20%.
Yeah.
So the chances of you working in your field that you have the degree in is slim to none. So for all you dudes out there right now spending money on college, just understand that if I'm not mistaken, we'll have to look this up, but if I'm not mistaken, the percentage, I'll say this, the percentage is very low for the people that use their degree in their career. And so, but I would, as part of that success push, and back to my original point about school, I'm a big proponent of going to college where you can afford to go to college. And if you can go to college and work, which you should be able to easily, unless you're a complete pussy, if you're willing to do that, you're going to learn more through that process than you'll ever learn sitting at school. You'll learn more about yourself, about what you're capable of, and about the discipline that it takes to get that done, about the physically being tired, the mental anguish and the tired that goes with it. And when you see that you can accomplish that, I'm telling you, everyone listening, that's the magic superpower. That's the benefit. Everything that you learn at school is extra. And I'll put to you that half that shit's valueless anyway. Most of what you learn in school is not going to mean shit.
Yep. The contacts, though, those are good too.
The contacts are good, and you got to come out here in the real world to really learn anything. But when you can learn that 60, 80 hours isn't shit, that you can do 60, 80 hours without thinking twice about it, and that it doesn't kill you, and you can do it without complaining, the advantage that gives you is so significant over what your competition is going to do and over what society is going to expect. The problem is we look at 60, 80 hours like it's something extraordinary. The lights just went out here. Billy's trying to get them to work, and they're all fucked up. There it went. The problem is 60 to 80 hours is something extraordinary and something our ancestors would look at and just laugh. You know, my grandparents would be like, what? You're bitching about 60 hours a week going to school, not digging a ditch?
Yeah.
And so having that perspective, I suppose, added with the discipline and the acknowledgement that you're able to do things and you're disciplined to be able to do things that you didn't think you can. That's where all the value is going to college. So that's why I think it's valuable to go to college, because you can learn those lessons without being in the real world. So you kind of get to have your foot on both sides of the fence.
Yep.
And then when you come out of college, now you're ready to go and you have the skills that you need to succeed, or give yourself the best chance, I should say, at success. So I think those things all go hand in hand: elementary school, middle school, high school, college. And the further up the rung you can go, the better your chances are at being successful. Not saying you can't be successful not graduating from high school. Just saying, I'm not saying you can't be successful not graduating from middle school. There's a lot of motherfuckers that were out in 7th grade.
And not saying that if you have a college degree that you're going to be successful.
And I'm not saying that you have. That's exactly right? Because there's no guarantee of college degree. The harder you have to work for that college degree, the better chance I think you have of being successful.
Yep.
But that is why I am such an advocate. I think the fix to getting kids out of the inner city and to reducing poverty the way that we want to, if we're honest about it, is letting those kids go get the education that they need so that when they get to high school, they're ready for it, where they get the education that they need so that when they get to college, they're ready for it, where they get the education that they need so that when they get in the real world, they're ready for it. But we retard that all the way back in middle school and elementary school, right? We set them up for failure beginning in elementary school, where kids get to trash bathrooms and nobody gives a shit and nothing happens and there's no repercussion and there's no discipline.